everybody and welcome back. As always, I am Mateo311 and this is your channel for everything VR related. So today, not only are we going over some of the biggest issues that VR gamers face, but I also have solutions to many of these problems. Now, it doesn't matter if you're an OG PC VR gamer who's been in the scene for years or someone who's yet to touch VR, there's plenty of information here that should help everyone. Now, there are, of course, links and timestamps if you want to skip ahead, but before we jump in, this video is brought to you by my sponsor, Kiwi Design. They've finally released their Quest 3 Elite Strap with battery pack, and not only is it less than half the price of what Meta sells, but it also has a bigger battery and extra comfy plush material. Now, if you previously purchased a Quest 2 head strap from Kiwi, they also offer a conversion kit so it'll fit on your Quest 3. So if you're looking to increase your comfort level or battery life on your Quest 3, or need an accessory for any other headset, check out the link down in the description and use code Mateo311 for 5% off. Okay, so I will be ordering this video in an ascending order of just how significant I think each issue is. But I do have to mention that a lot of these are subjective. Things like comfort. It might not be a big deal for you, but for someone else, it makes or breaks the entire VR experience. Now, I want to start things off with what VR headset should you buy? And again, if you're someone who's been in the VR scene, this really doesn't matter to you. But if you're new, this can be a pretty tough question. Now, in most cases, the answer to that question is get a Quest 3, and I know a lot of people's reaction to that comment will be, here we go, another meta shill. Now, I personally prefer PC VR over standalone VR, but we have to admit that the Quest 3 offers the best of both worlds, and also has some features like mixed reality that you just can't get anywhere else. So you get PC VR, standalone mobile VR, mixed reality, and all for a price lower than most PC VR headsets. Yes, of course, you will make some concessions with this headset, but it's pretty much the biggest bang for your buck. However, I will go over a few other options in case you're in a few specific groups. So if you really want to get into VR and $500 is just too much, then you might want to consider either the Pico 4 if you're in Europe or the Quest 2. Now, both have come down in price. The Pico 4 will be around $350 and the Quest 2 is only $250, and you could actually find them on eBay for a lot cheaper. So that's a great, super cheap way to break into VR. Honestly, there's no cheaper way. So it's a good option, but honestly, that hardware is dated. And if you end up loving VR, you're going to have to buy a Quest 3 or something else later down the road, probably a year or two from now. So it's an option only if you're really on a budget and want to know what VR is all about. Now, another option, if you are a PlayStation 5 owner and do enjoy like really high quality graphics games, then you might want to look into the PlayStation VR 2. I kind of hate this headset. They made some weird choices on the hardware that kind of diminished the overall experience. However, it's some of the best looking VR games out there, but they're just not bringing enough high quality games. And when it comes to AAA caliber, we really only have Resident Evil Village, Gran Turismo, and maybe Horizon Call of the Mountain. Now, if you're an OG PC VR gamer looking for an upgrade, well then the big screen Beyond is probably the best option for you. It's got this amazingly tiny form factor that you can wear all day long, and there's a super high resolution screen to go along with it. So it's a really cool headset. It's going to match with your base stations and your index controllers if that's what you're using, and you can do your full body tracking. So it's basically, super high-end PC VR. And another option that I would recommend for Sims fans is the Pimax Crystal. Again, another super expensive high-end headset that's going to give you the best clarity you've ever seen. The headset does have some issues. I talked about it in the past. It's getting better over time, but if money's no issue and you love to play simulation games, I'd probably say, okay, go check out the Pimax Crystal. But let's move on to our next topic, motion sickness. Now, motion sickness used to be a much bigger issue. Developers have learned a lot of tricks to make the overall experience better for users, and hardware's just got better and better, so games are smoother. However, some people are still really suffering. There's definitely some good news here though, and I do have some solutions. Now, the average person, about 98% of people, will eventually adjust to VR and then stop experiencing motion sickness altogether, or maybe it'll just be a mild sensation. However, the first month, maybe two, or even longer for some people can be a little rough. The advice here is simple. You cannot muscle your way through motion sickness. Do not try it. You're asking for trouble. Turn on your game. The second you experience any discomfort at all, immediately stop. And 100% shut the headset off for at minimum 1 hour. Doesn't matter if you're only playing for 10 minutes before you start to feel a sensation. that is when you stop. And you do this for a few weeks, and for the majority of people, that's it. You're going to get over it. Now, another option is when you first started playing VR games, don't play anything that uses stick locomotion or free locomotion. You play games where you physically move your body, like Beat Saber, Space Pirate Trainer, or games that allow you to use teleportation. So you'll get used to VR without being overwhelmed and having to adjust to motion sickness at the same time. It's just, we're going to bring down the overall experience so it's not super intense so that your body can gradually get accustomed to it. Then from there, move on to free locomotion and do exactly what I said. Just small chunks and you'll get better and better over time. Now there is a small, like less than 5% of the population who really struggles to overcome motion sickness. Then you might want to look into things like ginger, gummies, because they've been known to help reduce nausea. There are some medications, but honestly, do you want to take something like Dramamine every time you jump into VR? That sounds ridiculous. So try to get over it without using any sort of medication. And that's it. Motion sickness personally is not a huge issue anymore, at least for me, but for the few people out there who are really struggling, I'm sorry. This is the best I can offer you guys. Now, another significant but also highly subjective issue is comfort. If a headset hurts the wear, well, you're not going to play VR, end of story. And now some headsets are naturally more or less comfortable. This usually comes down to weight. Things like the Big Screen Beyond are tiny and feel super comfy on your face, especially because it's custom made for you. And then when you get to things like Pimax headsets that can be up to 1 kilo, yeah, it's going to be a neck strain, face strain, you name it, is probably not ideal for everyone. Luckily though, there's first and third party accessories for pretty much all of your VR headsets. Now, if you're a Quest owner, you could go straight to the Meta store, but their products tend to be more expensive and not super robust. The vast majority of Quest 2 or Quest 3 owners are going to want to get an Elite strap. This keeps the headset much sturdier on your head, reduces wobble, and increases the overall comfort level. Now, personally, I've been using Kiwi head straps for years, and not only are they cheaper, but I just find them to be so much more comfortable because they have a lot of plush material. But I will point out they are a sponsor of my channel, so feel free to think that I'm just shilling for them. Now, the facial insert and material used is also another huge aspect of comfort. So if you don't like the material that comes with your headset, there's plenty of alternative options from sites like VR Cover and AMVR. Now, I will include links to all of these sites down in the description if you need to check out these products. But once you got your headset perfectly comfortable, you might start to notice that your battery life is too short. Now, obviously, this is only an issue with mobile headsets, so PC VR users are exempt here, but if you're on a Quest 2, Quest 3, Pico 4, you might need a little extra oomph. Now, again, we have plenty of first and third party options here, and I once again tend to lean towards third party. I have nothing against Meta in this regard, but it really feels like you end up just paying more for the name. Kiwi Design has once again been my go-to for battery packs, but I know plenty of people also recommend Bobo VR. Now, while I've been waiting for my Kiwi head strap to come, I've been using the Annapro. Never heard of the company before, but they sent it to me and it's worked well enough so far. It's got a 6500 milliamp battery. It does have that plush top like you get on the Kiwi, which is nice. I really enjoy that. It's got this hinge here. Works well enough. The Quest 3 tends to suck up battery a lot faster than the Quest 2. So I really think I only get a little bit more, like around an hour added to the overall battery life with this. But like I said, works well enough. It's comfy. It doesn't feel that heavy. Solid product for me, but we'll see how it compares to my Kiwi when it gets here. Now, I did want to mention an issue that a lot of people are reporting with these battery packs. Now, not specifically this one, but like all of them out there. A lot of people, after they plug it in, are getting like a staticky hiss in their headphones. And I experienced it with this. And the only solution I found, which is a little frustrating, is I will turn on a game, then plug it in, but kind of plug it in lightly at first. So you get that sound that it connected, then fully plug it in. You never want to leave it partially plugged in. You can cause a short that way. But usually if I do this method, the static goes away. It's a little annoying, a little frustrating. Maybe Meta can solve it with a software solution. However, it's something we got to deal with currently. And hopefully better or different battery packs won't have this issue. I don't know the underlying cause. Now, another interesting topic I wanted to go over is the fact that it's getting harder and harder to find some reliable VR information. This used to just be about hardware, where the big well-known sites like IGN or CNET or even Linus Tech Tips were just atrocious when it came to what they recommended or their overall viewpoint on VR. Like, honestly, they had terrible advice. Like, CNET was recommending the original Vive after the Quest 2 came out. They were all over the place, but they seem to be getting better. They seem to have people more knowledgeable about VR, how the technology works, and their commentary is getting better and better. But when you move to something like the Meta Store and check out some game reviews, yeah, that is horrible. It is nothing but spam of referral links. People like, 5 stars, you have to get this game. By the way, here's my referral link. So Meta's trying to cut down on that spam right now, but you cannot rely on those. And then when you look out and go to check out some like YouTubers like myself, well, the vast majority of us do sponsored content or Meta content creators, ambassadors, whatever the case may be. So can you rely on any of these people? And this is where, you know, you kind of got to rely on a little bit of your intuition. Listen, I do sponsor content for games. I will show off games. I personally will not show off a game that I don't personally enjoy, but you might think I'm full of crap, and that's fine. You know, no one knows where my line in the sand is, and you don't know where anyone else is. Some people might just be after money and they're willing to say, yeah, this is the best game I've ever played for a paycheck. Or some people, you know, won't do any sponsored content at all. All I can really say is when it comes to overall content creators, try and find people that you jive with, that you feel like you're on the same level, and that they feel like they really love the technology. They're not doing it for a job. They're talking about VR because they love it. So that's the only thing I can really offer there. But again, it's getting hard to find because some people just love VR and hype everything up. There are some channels that just everything is the most amazing thing ever. I tend not to do that to the point that I've been called pessimistic way too many times, but it's pretty amazing that I could be a shill and also a hater in the same day. So that's it, guys. It's a little hard to get, you know, reliable information, but I will tell you that I think the vast majority of the VR content creators out there right now are 100% legit. They're doing it for the right reasons. They're offering up what they truly believe is real information. They're not shilling. They're not hyping stuff up. Some people are just more bubbly. Some people are pessimistic. However, I think the vast majority of people are telling you how they truly feel. Now, one of the biggest issues that I've personally faced in regards to VR is just the quality of games or the lack of some genres. Now, this is why I make a lot of lists, kind of help people find the right game for them. But you have to understand that VR is still a lot more on the casual side, and bigger games are just starting to come out now. We used to get them for PC VR in like 2018 through 2019, but then PC VR died off. So there's not a lot of big AAA quality games out there. Now, if you're looking for those games, again, all I could say is go look for some lists, top 10 VR games, stuff like that. But you probably heard of the vast majority of these big name games. And if they're not doing it for you, well, then I recommend you look into older PC VR titles and the flat to VR mod scene. And also, if you want to experiment a bit, get on SideQuest. SideQuest has tons of games that are like in development. So there's a lot of stuff to play around with there. And then I've also done videos on how to get more out of your headset besides just games. I'll link that above so you can check that out too. So quality of games has been a big issue, but just know bigger and better games are coming out, especially starting next month in December. I'll have a list on Friday. It's going to be some good times as we move into 2024. And again, like I said, I do plenty of videos helping you find that perfect VR game for you. I usually order things by genre, but just know that VR still leans a lot more towards casual, and genres like RPG, RTS, and MOBA are really underrepresented in VR. So if those are the type of games you love to play, right now might not be the time for you to jump into VR. And the final and what I consider most pressing issue is just the overall price tag and value on a device like this. Now, can we really justify spending $500 or probably more on a device that we don't know if we're going to use? And we also hear plenty of stories like, oh yeah, I got a Quest 2, it's in the closet collecting dust. Yeah, that does happen for a lot of people. Now, again, I briefly mentioned this, but I do a lot of videos on helping you get the most use out of your headset because it can do a lot more than just gaming. But yeah, getting past the $500 threshold is tough. Especially in the current economic situation, most people can't afford to just throw away $500. Well, my best advice here is to try and get your hands on VR and play as much as possible before you make any type of purchase. VR has a very powerful honeymoon period. For most people, the first time you throw on a headset, it will absolutely blow you away. However, over time, you just might find all of the experiences a bit too shallow to keep bringing you back. If you're someone who loves those huge AAA quality games like God of War, something along those lines, well, you might find these overall experiences just lacking. Again, if you also don't want to use your device for other things like watching TV, mixed reality, it again might not be for you. So go to Best Buy and try out a headset. Go to your friend's house who has one, use it as much as possible. There's plenty of sites who will let you test one for around 30 days. And if you don't want it, send it back. But I highly recommend that during that 30-day period, you use it as much as possible and really know if it's right for you, because I hate, doing anything that contributes to people getting buyer's remorse. $500 is a lot of money. And for many people, that can go a very long way. And if it ends up on a device that you'll never use, that's terrible. And I would feel horrible that if I in any way hyped up the device and convinced you to purchase one and you were disappointed. Now, I love VR. I use it just about every single day, but I'm not everyone. A lot of people feel completely different. And it's also become my job. So completely different story here. Now, that right there was all of the major issues that VR gamers face and all the solutions I have for you guys. I hope this video helps some people. Now, if there's other issues you face, let me know down in the comments. I'd love to reply to you. Or if you have any other feedback, I'd love to hear it. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. And as always, I'll see you guys on next time.